just funny. It's the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here, though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
Dude.
What's up, dog?
What's up, player?
How you doing, bro?
Good, buddy. First of all, let me try to wrap my head around that hair.
Dude, I decided, I said, listen, this coronavirus, I'm gonna be stuck inside for next 30 days. Said my hair was nuts, like all over the place. And I said, F it, I'm just gonna shave it. I said, I'm gonna shave it. By the time I get out of this whole coronavirus, it'll kind of just have a little bit on the top and just shave the sides or whatever. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, F it. I'm gonna let the beard grow out while this 30-day thing's going on. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's getting a little aggressive.
I like it.
Ooh, buddy.
How you and Brenda been, bro?
We're good, man. She says hi.
Yeah? Yas is in there fucking diddling around. I don't even know what she's doing, bro.
Yeah, she misses Yas more than you for sure.
Oh, 100%. Most people do.
Right. But I miss you more than Yas, so this worked out well.
It's heartfelt, brother. I appreciate that.
Nah, dude, it's been a while, man. For sure.
It has been a hot minute, bro. Last time we saw you, it was what we go down there for?
Not it was before gas.
It was in,
wasn't it?
yeah, it was. It was in January. Oh,
Yeah.
it was for my birthday.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that exactly. I didn't remember. Oh, man.
But we're okay, dude. We're just trying to stay as busy as we can, man. It's easy for me because I always work from home.
Mm-hmm.
Just after work, 5 o'clock, trying to like figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Like there's only so many movies on Netflix and games you could play, and
I know, man. I know it's aggressive.
Yeah.
I've been jogging around the lake. We were going on bike rides. I'm like, there's nothing else. There's literally nothing else other than just getting outside and just being away from the house. Because what are you gonna do? Like binge Netflix, binge Hulu? Like you said, there's only so much to watch.
Yeah, exactly. But we're things are okay. Could be worse, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you could be stuck with somebody you don't like.
You?
What? I didn't say anything.
Oh.
Not me.
Not this guy. No, but it's okay, man. I mean, I heard some states were actually pushing the lockdowns to like end of May.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think Georgia just pushed it.
It doesn't surprise me though. I mean, they want to get a firm hold on this thing. They don't. I mean, look at what it's already doing to the economy and this and that. I mean, it's all of this is reaction, but it's a necessary reaction that needs to be had.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? I mean, what's the end game here? What do you think is going to be? What does the economy look like after this? That's my biggest concern. But what do you think? How does this happen? What happens here?
I mean, I think we're definitely going to go. I can't say definitely. I mean, this is just one man's opinion, but I definitely think I can foresee this putting us into a recession of some sorts.
Yeah.
I mean, I called this last year. I said the numbers and the way that things are moving, such a bull market. It was moving up so high, and then you have these massive falls. It was like the tremors before an earthquake. And so what I was telling clients when I'm like talking to them, or just even my dad or family, I was like, it's coming. Like it's not going away. It's on its way. It's just, when is this going to happen? And then I was talking to somebody else, and they were like, yeah, there probably has to be something like a catalyst, like, the election, new president gets involved. People lose faith in this new president or whatever. And then what happened is we had a virus that ended up being the catalyst. Yeah. And so the virus pushed because what was happening is when the Fed drops their rates, which was like on the news all the time, Fed's dropping their rates, Fed's dropping their rates, Fed's dropping their rates. It just means that these massive companies like have less to like they get to charge less for what they borrow. And what that means is they want more spending, more borrowing, more this, more that. They want stimulation organically because it's cheaper to borrow. When you do that faster, things aren't going as well as planned typically. And so you see all these cuts, and then out of nowhere, this coronavirus comes up, and it just eradicates. It shakes the whole market. All the bells and all the whistles fall right off. So it took what was bound to happen, and it just brought it right to the forefront, and it put it right in our face. So I think we're going to see a recession. I don't think this is the end. This is just the beginning. I don't think it's going to be as bad as like the banking systems and everything aren't bad like they were in 07. So I don't think you're going to see like that type of stuff, but I think you are going to see a bit of a recession. I think it's going to get a little bit worse than it gets better before it gets better, excuse me. So,
yeah, I can see that definitely happening for sure. And I mean, for people that don't know, so what are you doing now? You're working, in homes, right?
But yeah, I do residential home loans. So the mortgage industry, the industry that put us in the last recession is what I'm doing now. But I'm proud to call myself a loan officer because back then I'm sure nobody, if you were like I'm a loan officer, everyone's like, oh my, thanks, appreciate that, right? But now it's completely different, man. We have so many laws and so many regulations and so many things that we have to abide by, and making sure people qualify, of course, and all that stuff. That it's completely different. It's very, very safe now to be, getting home loans.
Yeah. No, it's a lot different than what it used to be. And, I mean, you've helped me out a lot, just kind of breaking down, what I got to do for the next home and stuff like that. So I appreciate that.
Of course, man.
Still, obviously we were, looking at house number 3, but that's going to be put on hold. Obviously, until this comes down. We'll see what happens here.
100%.
Yeah, we'll see. But how are you and Yase handling? What are you guys doing? I see you had a couple friends over, and you're practicing the non-social distancing part, so that's good.
We had people over, but we all stayed 6 feet away, bro. I had one person on that side of the pool, one person on that side of the pool, just waving, loud talking, all that type of stuff. Is perfect.
That's how you do it. Perfect.
Yeah, brother.
It is kind of weird though. Like a situation like this happens, and they, people say, hey, have social distancing and yada yada and all this shit, and then people start bitching and complaining that they, have to stay inside. But like, grass is always greener. Like every time when things were normal and you could go outside all the time, you could go to restaurants all the time, and you could hang out with friends all the time, you always kept bitching and complaining about how you just wanted to like relax and stay at home and could do nothing and Netflix and chill. And now they start to see that kind of sucks.
Yeah, man.
Netflix and chill and be lazy all day. I mean, we're not designed like that. Like the human bodies and, Homo sapiens, like our species is meant to like, get chased by saber-toothed tigers. So we're not designed to just sit at home and do nothing and be on our phone.
No.
No.
I think it's definitely I think this whole quarantine 30-day thing and like stay home, don't go anywhere, don't talk, like don't get around a bunch of people. Like I think that's put a lot of things into perspective, especially for me, man. Like I don't know about you, but like for me, I was looking at like even now, like I'm looking at how much I was spending between like going out to dinner, doing this on the weekends, doing that, like going out and getting drinks and whatever. And now you can't do it because everything's shut down. And so like, I'm looking at myself, I'm like, obviously like, so like being social and being integrated and networking, like the term your network is your net worth, you're doing all of that type of stuff is necessary, but like to what degree with the financial spending. And I was like, I looked at like my spending for like all of March or all of February, all of March and all of April. And it is like, so far of April, it is remarkable on how much I was spending on just useless things. And I'm like it put it into perspective of like, I was just like, I don't care. Like, I'll just buy this, I'll buy that. And it's this, at least the thing that I've learned, because all of this should be a learning curve. It's not like you should just get out and be like, thank God I'm done. Mm-hmm. You should learn from it. And I think it's like we spend a lot of money on a bunch of useless junk, like stuff we don't even need. And it's crazy. It's putting a lot of things into perspective for a lot of people, bro.
Yeah, man. I think it's a wake up call that, I was talking about it with a buddy of mine a couple podcasts ago, and we're like just thinking to ourselves, in 30 days, whatever you have used in that 30 days is probably all you need. What else do you need, right? Like if you go down to a storage closet and you have a bunch of bullshit that you don't necessarily need, what are you doing with that stuff? It's crowding up space. I talk about cleaning your room all the time because I heard about it from a lecture from this physicist, Jordan Peters. And he talks about this all the time. I don't know if you heard of him, but he's got a great book, a lot of lectures, and he talks about cleaning your room, but not necessarily, literally, sure, but really figuratively, like just clearing out all the junk, in your life. Like even something crazy as, my studio here, I had, it was in disarray, and every time it would be my workspace and I would look around and it like pisses you off, all the clutter and the junk. So I kind of use this time to clean my room, get things organized. And I threw away some of the stuff that I wasn't using in a while. I sold some of the stuff that, maybe other people could use. And I even went to, Goodwill and dropped some stuff off that maybe I thought people could use, including clothes and stuff like that. So it's like, it's one of those things where in 30 days, even though I've only worn these pants the past 30 days, when I wash them, I just run around naked. So
right.
Aside from that, you don't necessarily need a whole lot to get by. Like,
no,
you work where you work and you do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, we don't, like you said, to your point, you don't need to go out all the time. And you don't need to spend a lot of money on stupid shit.
It's all the extra, man. It's all the extra. It comes into the ego. It's about impressing other people. And that goes into a whole different conversation. But that's really what it comes down to, man. It's like you realize like you said, what are the essentials? Like everything else is just extra. It's just there for what reason? Other than just to say you have it, right? Like, is there any benefit to it? Does it help you in any way? No. Like, why'd you get it then? So it's a crazy time to be living in. I think it's going to be, this is definitely going to be for the books. No one's ever seen anything like this. You've had like swine flu, like SARS, swine flu, you've had Ebola, you've had, the Spanish flu, this, that, the other, but like the amount of the world is obviously the most populated it's ever been. You have so many people all over the place. You have social media integrations, you have news corporations just blasting this stuff out. It's a crazy time to be able to just witness all of it. Back in like Spanish flu time, I'm sure they had newspapers, but like TV, constant social media in your face, knowing what's going on, it's everywhere. You can't even get away from it. Yeah,
and that's another thing too, like the news. I've really tried to like make a point to not watch the news at all. Aside from, little things like, my mayor and what he says about Tampa and what we have to do. Aside from that, I'm trying not to spend a lot of time on the news because I was taught a long time ago that you only lose your attitude with things you can control.
Yep.
So when you watch something on TV, if you can't control that thing, you shouldn't be upset. So like if there's a, like a murder around the corner you shouldn't get upset about that. Like, okay, it is, protect yourself. Like it is what it is. If this virus is affecting, New York and LA and you don't live in those cities, I wouldn't cloud your brain with that stuff because it could be different. Every city and state's different and every mayor handles it differently and every news broadcast is different. And the more we like cloud ourselves with this negative shit, you're set at home in a pot and all you got is one other person next to you. You're going to release that negativity on that person. Next thing you know, this 2-month, 3-month quarantine turns into like a bloodbath inside your house.
You walk away hating the other person, man.
Yeah, dude. Like, we gotta take it easy and be positive. And as long as you're washing your hands and you're not going out, and you got all the food you need. And
it's sad that the news only broadcasts the negative stuff. Like like the John Krasinski or whatever his name is just came out with that good news, whatever on YouTube. It's phenomenal. And the only reason why it's great is because it's just positivity. Like it's something that's positive. When you get on the news, they're like 4 murders happened. Coronavirus cases have gone up by 17,000. Yeah. And more people are being quarantined. And like you said, like it's feeding you stuff if you like the best, you said it perfectly. If you can't control it directly, the only thing that you can control is yourself and your actions and the way that you perceive things and the way that you let things get to you. So like with that type of stuff, it's going to happen regardless or not. Like you can't control the outcome of it. There was a story, or not a story. There was a record I read about a guy in like Serbia or something. It was like right after World War II, and these like archaeologists were going through like really dense forest in the middle of Serbia, and they find this like shack in the middle of nowhere, right? Like in the middle of nowhere. And this guy had like a family, and they spoke like a very offset version of Russian, but it was so on and so forth. This guy basically was at one point a Russian cop back in when it was really the USSR, but whatever. And he had left the city, and they just kept walking and walking and walking and walking until they landed in this area that felt perfect for them. And he had no idea that there was the Spanish flu. He had no idea about World War II. I mean, but yet we were all, not we, but like our forefathers and so on, were all involved in this nuclear war. There was the concentration camps, and all of this horrible stuff happened. This dude had no perception of it because to him it didn't even exist, because he was so far away from it that it couldn't have existed. There was nothing for him to tell him it existed. So that's a great way that I like to perceive it. Like if you just put this bubble around yourself with all this negativity and you don't let it in, it doesn't even exist. It can't exist because you don't allow it in.
Totally.
And it stops it from everything.
I bet that guy was super happy on his own.
Oh, dude, they tried to bring him into civilization. He lost it. He was like, no, like lost his mind. Yeah, I'm not going.
Yeah. It's like, I even, I had this conversation with my family too sometimes, because sometimes we get in these arguments where we always talk about, hey, you don't do this enough, you don't do this enough with it. And I'm like, listen, it's not that I don't love you guys, it's just there's only so much time in a day, and I got to worry about myself and my wife and my direct bubble. And if I worry about my bubble and you guys worry about your bubble, everyone's going to be fine. We're still on this earth, but you can't, once you start like trying to like tell people what to do in another bubble, that's when there's resentment, there's hate. And it goes with the relationships too. I'm a strong believer. I learned probably the first 6 months being married that if I tell her to jump, she ain't gonna jump.
See, that's where I went wrong, because I still believe that. So I gotta pick up on that one. No, I'm just joking. But she's great, But it is true. I mean, you gotta keep your own sphere. You gotta keep your bubble, and the bubbles will integrate as long as it's not like the family is ever going to go anywhere. You always love each other. Same thing with my family. Mom and I text all the time. I haven't talked to my dad in like 2 months, but if I gave him a call, he'd be like, "What's up, man?" Like, it's just the way it goes. You just got to do your thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You guys finished up the house, right? I saw.
Yeah, we got like a couple of other things done, brother. We got the floors done. We did some trim. We're getting ready to finish up one of the bathrooms right now. I've been working on it all week, because all the time I have.
What's going on? Is there some type of virus or something over there?
Yeah, I guess like there was something outside where we can't breathe the air. I don't know. Yeah, don't get near anybody. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's just started. I'm still finishing up this spare bathroom, and then the next thing is going to be 2 big projects where I can't do this stuff because I'm handy to a degree, but I'm not like handy, and it's going to be remodeling the whole kitchen and then the whole master bathroom. So that's the next 2 big projects. And you guys keeping the house, or are you trying to resell it? Yeah. No, we're keeping this one for a while. This is going to probably be like a 10-year, 20-year home, and then I'm going to buy my dream home. That's kind of what we want. Yeah, man. We want that dream home right at the end. Just wait for that. And I'm trying to get rid of this spot and at least rent it out before the Super Bowl, because Super Bowl's in Tampa this year. Yeah, that would be sweet. Yeah, man. Are they there? Are they just skip? They just are there? Wait, did Super Bowl already happen? I'm not a big football. I don't follow football too well. So yeah, it was February in Miami. Okay. And then the other one is obviously February of, or it might even be January. I think it's the last week in January this year, or 2021, but it's in Tampa this time. So wow, that's awesome, man. Even Airbnb, I could probably get $1,000 a night. Yeah, that'd be
for the spot.
Oh, 100%. 100%. How far are you guys away from the stadium?
15 minutes.
Oh, yeah, dude. You'd be gold. You'd be gold. That would be some high turnover right there.
Yeah, so that's the goal.
Damn, man.
How's work though? Are you still obviously you're just working from home? I would guess.
Yeah, just working from home, man. I'm considered an essential business. So that's pretty exciting, but it's good. It's actually a lot busier than what I thought it was going to be. I thought that, so initially in March I had 6 million in volume, and that's like the average loan officer in a year will do about 15 million. So this year is like already been like extremely busy in itself. March came and it was really busy for refinances. The rates were really low. I mean, we were talking about it, like we were talking about how low the rates were, this, that, the other. And I had probably 20 loans were just refis. And then I had another another 10 that were about just purchases. And so it was just super, super packed. And then this whole coronavirus thing hit. The interest rates went from like literally low 3s, mid 3s to high 4s, low 5s overnight. And they didn't really come back down for a couple of weeks. And now we're kind of starting to trickle back into the 4s, or we're starting to trickle back in low 4s, high 3s, mid 3s, stuff like that. So this month, I mean, it's still busy, man. I have like 16, 17 loans, and I'm at about 5.8 million right now in volume for April alone. So, we're killing it. We're doing a lot better than a lot of other teams. I don't know if it's something that we're doing, if it's the conversation, whatever it is. It's just, I think the motto of my company is, how can I help you before I can help myself? It's not about necessarily the interest rate. It's not necessarily about, getting in this person the type of loan. It's more about what is going to be best suited for this individual. Yeah, this individual might have a 4.375 right now on their current rate. But is it better for them to keep that rate, do a cash out refinance and liquidate all their debt? How would a lower rate if you're keeping all that debt? You might be saving 50 to 60 bucks a month on your interest rate for your principal and interest. But if you still have $400 in debt that you have, it hasn't assisted. Your interest rate means absolutely nothing, That's how I really like to structure my stuff is it's not necessarily, let me get you the best deal. Let me make sure obviously I want people to get good deals, but how is it going to benefit you in the best right? How can I make you genuinely save way more money than just what is my interest rate? So, taking that motto, how can I help you before I help myself has gotten us pretty far this month already. May's being popped off. We got like 5 or 6 loans in May. So, the rates are going back down, but the hardest thing with this whole thing is by far the way that the lenders are changing their guidelines. So before, you could do government loans down to like a 580 credit score. Now they're up to 640. Can't do anything below 640. You have to have lower debt to income ratios. Self-employed people get their incomes dropped from 100% to 75%. So if someone's making 100 grand a year self-employed, even though their income is 100 grand, they're going to qualify at 75 grand for most lenders. There's certain qualifications you have to hit to be able to utilize the 100% of your income, but not many people have it. Not many people can bring, not many people have 12 months of liquid funds of all expenses plus the new mortgage just ready to sit in a savings account. It's definitely harder for a lot of people, but it's a benefit because it would almost be a crime against the economy and everybody else if we didn't change anything and just let everything keep on rolling in. And I'm not saying people who have a 580 score are bad borrowers by any means, or people who have lower scores have a less likelihood to pay back. Hypothetically, your credit score represents your ability to pay back something, right? Right. So if you give somebody at a 580 score a loan, your credit score is technically saying, I have a less ability to pay this thing back than the dude that has an 800. When you cut that part out momentarily, it's not forever. When you cut that part out, it puts a lot of protection into the banking system. So therefore, you, me, everybody else doesn't have to worry about the banking system going under again like it did in 2007.
And '07 was, we're giving out loans to everybody.
Yeah, you're giving out loans to, right now, like the only loan that can go to 100% LTV, which is loan to value. The only person that can do that is a VA. USDA can do it, but it's hard to find USDA loans in Florida. I mean, they're out there, but they're harder to do. But back in 2007, they're doing 125% LTV loans, 105% LTV loans, negative amortization, meaning basically you pay your monthly mortgage and your interest, and it tacks on more interest to the back end of the loan. So your loan amount is going up as you're paying payments. And all these funky loans were going on like back in 2007. So, I mean, the precautions that they're making are absolutely necessary. I 100% get it. It secures my job. It secures the economy in a lot of ways. It's safer for now, and they're not going to be forever. We're going to drop back down to all this stuff in here in the next 4 or 5 months. So yeah, I can foresee it. Once all this Corona stuff is all done with, the mortgage system's not going to go anywhere. We're probably going to be steamrolling right through the coronavirus because just people still want to buy houses. Pricing isn't going down. Foreclosures aren't going to increase because forbearance is here now. So forbearance was like kind of a thing back in 2007, but now it's like, hey, you are having financial hardship. Let me push back your payment by 180 days. And you don't have to pay anything for 180 days, but on that 181st day, you now owe me all of those payments in one lump sum. It's going to be hard for a lot of people, but it makes it much easier for people who have been furloughed or laid off, and you don't have to put your house into foreclosure.
Like at the end of this thing, if someone wanted to purchase a home, like let's say they're a first-time homeowner, and they've been looking for a few months and this happened, what's the first step they could take to maybe look at their first home and get those steps going?
Yeah, of course. I mean, first-time home buyers are the best, man. They have the most like intriguing questions, and I mean that in a heartfelt way, because like when I got in the mortgage industry, I thought getting a mortgage was like getting a credit card. You type in your name, you type in your social security number, your last name, where you live, and all that type of stuff, and then it says you're approved, and you just go buy a house. It's a lot more in depth than that. So what I love about first-time home buyers is that they have so many questions, and they're genuinely intrigued to learn about the process and like how they get the loan. But when you are a first-time home buyer and out of this process, I mean, you could be looking right now, the prices aren't going anywhere, but what you're going to be doing as a first-time home buyer, anybody that's going to be in the process, is you just want to talk to a lender before you talk to a real estate agent. You want to pair up with both. Obviously, 9 times out of 10, your real estate agent's going to have a preferred lender, but you always want somebody that you can trust in the financing and on the real estate side. But you're going to tell the realtor what you're looking for. I want a 4-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms. I want a pool, and I want to live in this area. And they find those houses for you. And you as a client, you end up picking the house you want, of course. The realtor is not like, this is the one you should buy. Yeah. They just show you properties. But the financing is much more in depth. And as a first-time home buyer, you need to know the ins and outs of how they're going to look at your income, how much money you need for the down payment, where can you get your down payment from, gifts are allowed, that type of stuff. So you need to have somebody that's going to walk you through every single scenario with your pre-approval. So when you're doing the pre-approval, it's the first thing you should do, because you don't want to fall in love with the property, and you don't want to get in what I call the Zillow time warp, where you're on Zillow and you just get sucked into these $400,000, $500,000, $300,000 houses, and you may only qualify for $250,000, and that's completely okay because that's a beautiful home. Yeah. But you want to get pre-qualified first. You want somebody to go through your income docs. You want somebody to go through your assets. Where is the down payment coming from? Look at your credit report and thoroughly review everything, because what you will end up finding is a lot of loan officers don't take the time to do that. They might take a credit report and say, oh, it's stated income, stated assets. Like, you tell me what your income is and you tell me what you have in the bank. But then I go to verify it and it's a little bit different. And now you don't necessarily qualify for the house that you're already on a contract for. And now you have to tell all your friends and family, I'm not buying that house anymore. I didn't get pre-approved. And so the first step for a new home buyer is definitely just start off with a finance guy or your loan officer, somebody that you trust. So learn about them and learn about their company, and just make sure that they get the pre-approval and really ask as many questions as you want. to be able to learn what the process is and how that individual is going to ensure that you're going to get through the loan. That's the best part as a first-time home buyer.
That's huge. No, that's good. And, like we talked about, only control what you can control, right? So that's why it's important you don't spend time. I love the Zillow time warp, where if, you're not qualifying for $400,000, now you're spending, let's say an hour a night, 7 days a week, and you're searching Zillow and you're looking at these houses that you don't necessarily qualify for. Not only did you waste that time, but also you got all jacked up and, excited about a certain house that you're probably never going to see unless something happens,
100%.
right? So you don't want to get too excited. It's like, I want a Maserati, but I'm not going to go to a Maserati dealership and look at a Maserati.
Right.
Like, I know what they look like, but I know once I sit in it and I touch it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell my wife for this car. You don't want to get your hopes up and fucking.
Yeah, man. I've had clients like that. I've had clients that have done that, man. They go out and they'll look at properties for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And the real estate agent will tell them, hey, go get pre-qualified with Jorey. Go get pre-qualified with Jorey. This is my guy. This is my preferred lender. And I never hear from them. I'll call them, leave a voicemails, text them, emails for weeks. And then all of a sudden I'll get a contract in my inbox for the individual that I've been trying to contact. And the individual will be like, all right, I'm ready to get qualified now. And then we look at their qualifications. I'm like, you're not even close, man. Like, we should have done this weeks ago. Like there's, your income's this and this is what it needs to take. So you definitely, as any buyer really, but a first time home buyer, you definitely need to take the correct steps to be able to learn, like, where am I going to be at? Am I going to be wasting my time with this? Is this going to be the right move for me? Programs are really important. Like which program is going to suit me the best, FHA or conventional, VA for veterans and stuff like that. So you just got to give her the right person, man.
Yeah, and that was my first when I first bought my home, for I think it was 5 years ago now. And it was really important to me that I really looked around and did my due diligence to do my research and stuff, especially because it was just me. I was dating Brenda at the time, but I didn't think I was going to marry, obviously. So I was like, I'm going to get a house no matter what. Let me look around. Let me do what I had to do. And I got all my ducks in a row first before I started looking, because turns out, if I didn't know that, like I had, my credit score was really messed up that I didn't even know from like hospital bills 10 years ago.
Yep.
And, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars when I didn't have insurance. I didn't have a job. I owned my own company. So I didn't really think anything of it. And then now I'm trying to buy this home and now my credit score's hitting it. So I cleaned that up first. And I cleaned up credit cards and I switched a couple things to Brenda's name because I had like 2 cars under my name. She had one, I had the other, but put that under her name. And I moved some things around before I started going around and having people check my credit all the time. Because, one thing I did learn was get your shit in order first, get excited about what you're willing to spend first and then start looking. Because again, kind of the same thing where if you keep looking and then you find the perfect house and you don't have the down payment and your credit score is not in line and you don't really know what to do and you don't have, that lender maybe that could work with you or something like that, and you don't have that in line, well, now the house that you're super excited about, it might take you 6 months to get your shit together. That house is going to be gone by then. So now you just you find the perfect home. You can't even get it.
There's nothing worse than watching. There's nothing worse as a professional watching your client go look at properties and they go and put offers in and there's still unchecked items going on and they go to put on properties and come to find out something didn't get approved or this isn't acceptable or whatever. And at the end of the day, they can't go buy that house and then the house is gone and then it's heartbreaking for them. This was the house for me. This is where I saw myself living. This is where I saw myself building a family. That's, like I said, it's really important to start the process ahead of time and just talk. Like you don't need, like if someone called me and said, hey, listen, I don't really want to get pre-approved right now, but what could you tell me to do in order to be aware of? So when I do go get pre-approved, what can I get set up? And I'd be like, okay, check your credit. What is your income? Let's do this. What is the price range you're trying to look for? You need X amount for down payment. And that would set you up, even if it takes 3-4 months to do that you're 3-4 months ahead than you would have been if you would have just started from scratch and said, let's free fall. Let's see if it works.
Great advice.
I know you do a lot of stuff with the marketing with Monster, man. I mean, you guys are going everywhere. We did Miami, Bahamas, right? Were you guys in the Bahamas or Jamaica?
Yeah, so I run the whole state, but I got a rare contact where the company branched out of Florida, and every year they do a spring break trip to the Bahamas. Company's called STFU. Shout out to STFU. I'm actually wearing one of their hats right now.
That's awesome.
But yeah, because this is their hat from last year. Can you read what it says?
Mom, I'll call you back. I'm at the library, okay?
But they sold them there. Obviously, they're not at the library. But it's all the college kids from all over the country come to this thing. And it's North Bimini, which is a part of the Bahamas, but it's about an hour and a half ferry ride from Fort Lauderdale to the resort.
Okay.
And the island is only about 2 miles, like total.
Wow.
So it's extremely small. There's only one hotel to Hilton. There's like 6 restaurants, 2 liquor stores, like on the whole island. You can't even get gas on the island. You have to go to a different island, take a boat to go get gas.
Oh.
No one drives a car. I mean, there is cars, but everyone drives in golf carts.
Wow.
Gas goes further. So it's a very, very secluded island. When it gets really windy, the waves get aggressive. So you can't even like fly a plane or use a ferry. So there's only specific times that you can actually go to the island. And it just so happens spring break, thank goodness, is one of those times. I was up there for a couple of weeks doing an event there, and then I brought her week 3, but we had to pull back because when we got there, that's when, Trump put in the ordinance and said, hey, only essential travel, yada, yada, yada. And we kind of knew that it was going to get worse.
Yeah.
So we're like, we could stay on the end. We could have stayed on the island, and if we did, we still would be stuck there because the island shut down all transpo.
Wow.
So, not saying that's a bad thing, but the problem is like, if you get bit by a snake or something out there, they ain't got a hospital that can take care of you. I mean, that's like,
yeah, you're gonna be screwed.
Yeah.
Holy cow, man.
Yeah. So we left just in time because 3 days after we left, they shut the island down. The resort was locked down, which that's where we would have stayed. So we had no place to stay. The restaurants that are there, who knows if those are open still. I know the hotel, that's where we ate at because, we felt it was safe, but that was shut down. So we wouldn't have had a place to eat or sleep. I mean, it would have been bad. So I'm glad we left, but
wow.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I'm glad you guys got out too, man. How's it going with the marketing stuff? I mean, how's that being affected with all this stuff going on?
It's good to an extent. Like, I don't know if you follow us, but we kind of got ahead of the game a little bit. First week of March, we knew this was going to happen. So our corporate office decided to, do a lot from a philanthropy standpoint, donating product and donating service to first responders and things like that. So they've done a good job from that marketing piece. And then we went really hardcore digital. So every night we do like Instagram lives and Facebook lives of all of our athletes. So like graffiti artists, Mayday, which is a hip hop band, reggae band. Dirty Heads even did something. Some of our other artists, we've done like a lot of cool stuff on that end. So instead of doing events, like all my events got canceled, trying to be a little bit more creative. I have one cool event that we do every year down in South Florida. It's the Sea and Air Show. So it's one of the biggest military shows in the country. And that's Memorial Day weekend, but they had to cancel that, which sucks. But we decided we're going to donate a dirt bike. And we partnered up with Hyundai, who sponsors the event. And they're going to give away a car. And all you got to do to win is you have to go nominate or get nominated to be a local hero. So if you're like a nurse, if you're a doctor, if you're a police officer, someone who's helping out with COVID-19, you can go to usasalute.com/hero, and then you put in that individual's name. And if they get selected, we're going to give them either a car or a Monster Energy exclusive dirt bike or a bunch of other prizes. So we're gonna promote that live. So we're trying to get creative a little bit, but it is tough with our business because our business is very physical. It's can in hand.
I mean, that's. I mean, at least you guys are definitely doing it the right way because you got to think about how many people are on their phones now. I mean, they're at home, they're in Netflix, they're this, but there's a lot of people always on. They're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're YouTube, this, that, the other. So doing the social media thing is the only way to really reach out to people at the moment. So it's definitely a smart move. And doing the giveaway, I mean, that's even better. Like a local hero and nurse, doctor, firefighters, paramedics, whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude. I even have a couple buddies that are nurses, and I I'm going to try to get them on the podcast, but they're like working double. Cause I'm super curious how they're seeing these things. I mean, they're telling me that people are going into these hospitals and they're not taking this seriously. Like they have COVID-19, they're testing positive, but then you ask them what they did earlier today and they're like, I don't know what happened. I woke up, I had coffee. I went to Publix and whoa, hold on. You knew you were positive. You went to people just still aren't taking this seriously. And then they end up in the hospital, because of that. So it's,
that's just nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So a lot of people are helping us get through this. And a lot of people are really working their ass off to make sure no one else gets infected. And I think we're on the right track.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, the sacrifices these people, the nurses, the firefighters, the doctors, all of them are making. I mean, you just got to think about the workload that they have. It's not only just people who have the COVID-19 because you have to quarantine them, you have to take special precaution because if you get around them and then you get around somebody who is sick that may have respiratory issues, they just got out of heart surgery, somebody who actually has another problem other than COVID-19. Special, proactive measures have to be taken at all points of time. You're always like taking gloves off, putting them back on, putting your mask off, putting them back on. It's just the amount of work and the amount of constant mental strain that they have to do to be sure that they're on point every single second of the day. Because as soon as you mentally relax and you're just like, I got to go see patient number 212 or whatever, and you didn't take off those gloves after going to somewhere else, you're done. Now that person's infected, and maybe that's detrimental for that individual.
Exactly.
It's remarkable the amount of effort the nurses, the doctors, all of these assistants have, and everybody involved, the amount of stuff that they have to put themselves through. And they might even get sick, like they have a high risk of getting sick themselves.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's, that's what's even more crazy is, we still have these people that are willing to do this type of stuff for me. Like I love all those videos where it's like, what is it? We left home for you, so stay home for us or something like that. Like that's great, man. But just the fact that they're willing to do it. Cause I got to tell you, man, I like to think I'm a pretty strong person, but I don't know if I could do that. Like to wake up every day and to risk my life to, not just, cause I might get sick, but I might do something to mess up. Like you said, I might do something to mess up that other individual. And this is a feeling no one really knows what it could do. And no one knows the severity of it. So, it's just, it's crazy, man. There's a lot of heroes out there. So the fact that people aren't doing the right things, to protect other people around you and you can't be responsible, but these strangers are helping your family, your friends of friends. Like we got to clean up our act. Like even just here in Tampa, like, I don't know if you remember that the Gandy Bridge right where we live, but there's a bunch of beaches. Mm-hmm. So they shut that down like first week of March, like right when they started, like, all right, it's spring break. We got to close the beaches. That's it. So they started shutting them down, and people still, just in fact, I think it was like maybe a week or two ago. So we're 3 weeks in the pandemic, and people are still sneaking past these barricades, driving their cars like over medians and shit just to get to the beach. And you got hundreds of people that are just hanging out there. So
Jesus, man,
it's nuts, bro.
It feels like we're living in a sci-fi movie. It's like this invisible, like it's this invisible invader that we all have to stay inside away from. We can't go outside. It's what was that movie? I can't remember what that movie. I think it was with like Mark. Oh man, I think it was like with Mark Wahlberg or something, where it was like the pollen.
Oh, it was Fog. The Fog.
No. It was like the pollen was making people like, basically.
It was an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Was it? Yeah, it was. It was like, and they found out like the pollen from like these trees or whatever was making people crazy and, jumping in front of cars and stuff like that. Like
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And every time you saw the grass move,
maybe a little bit popped off. Like that's what it feels like, man. It feels like we're like in this sci-fi movie where we're all out, like we're all inside and we're like, is it going to get us? Like, yeah, you got to take the precautions. You have to, because, God, I would feel awful because I'm a healthy individual, but, granted, bless whomever above, I rarely ever get sick, ever. Like just on a regular basis, I probably get sick like once every 2 years. And when I get sick, I am like deathly ill. Like I get really sick. But like if I got this, I may not have any symptoms. I may not show any signs. But if I got like my father-in-law sick or Yas sick or any but my mom or anybody like that, it would break me apart. You know,
Oh, yeah,
it would break me apart because it'd be like, you did this.
Yeah, you're right, man. So hopefully, again, it looks like people are starting to understand it is serious. It's a worldwide thing. It's never happened before either, which is even more crazy. Where the whole world is getting impacted by this. It's kind of wicked, man. So
it is, brother. It is.
I don't know, but it's good to hear from you. Good to see you, and we should definitely do this more often, man. God forbid this happens another like month or two. We definitely got to do this more often and get together. I'm trying to do it as much as I can because I don't. I've been working so much and I've been busy, last like 4 years. So I'm trying to do whatever I can to spend as much time. I mean, I'm doing like 1 or 2 of these a day with
oh, really?
Yeah. With friends and family and stuff. So I'll either do like really early in the morning or really late at night, cause again, you don't know, man, I mean, something could happen again, God forbid, you go outside and someone gets infected and now they're in the hospital and you can't talk to them anymore. Like that's the shit that's important. Like, the thing you have down in your storage closet that you haven't, that's not important. You don't need to worry about the food you eat or the Starbucks you drink or the couch that you're sitting on. It's the people that you're able to, to see and people that you love. So that's why this time's really important. I really reflect a lot on it.
100%.
I've started to realize that I got a lot of shit. I don't even need a whole lot of shit.
Like, what is this? What is this? Just throw it away. I don't even care anymore.
Dude, I went from like having a really cluttered condo to like now it's like spacious, it's gorgeous, like it's very minimalist now. So I'm excited.
It's weird how perception changes the whole thing. You give yourself some time and you stick yourself in a certain situation, and perception changes everything for it.
Although I must admit, I have not drank so much alcohol than I have.
Dude, ABC and Total Wine are just like, come on in.
In fact, if anybody planted this fucking COVID-19, it was those 2 pricks.
Oh, 100%. Right now, I'm saying it, 100% created by ABC Liquor. No doubts about it.
And not only is it ABC, but they couldn't think of a name for the virus, so they called it COVID. Come on.
Yeah, it makes 100%.
You
100%
just
sense.
a bunch of alphabetical letters. Okay, we know.
It was literally like Scrabble. They were, what was it? Or was it Yahtzee where they just put it in the thing and they just roll it like COVID-19? Perfect.
Done. Love it. That's funny. This was good talking to you, man. We'll definitely we'll touch base here the next few days and let's shoot the shit again.
All right, of course, brother. I appreciate you as always. You stay safe out there.
Thank you, brother. You too, man.
All right, bye-bye.